Hey everyone, this is three-time Pro Bowler Eric Metcalf, and you're listening to Jim on Base.
Hey, it's Ryan from the Jim on Base Show, and I want to give a huge shout out to my friends at Claim to Fame. They have some of the best jackets out there that I love to wear. You can rock them for date night, a casual outing with friends, or even while doing a podcast. They're lightweight, they're durable, and perfect for any setting. My favorites are the dark blue, the olive shade, and if you want to switch things up and go for a lighter color, one of my favorite go-tos is the Pacific blue. So check them out at claimtofame.com for all their different styles. The next time you step out, you'll be feeling good with Claim to Fame. Welcome back to another episode of the Jim on Base Show. For today's very special guest, we have on the 13th overall pick in the 1989 NFL Draft. He's a three-time Pro Bowler, both a Cleveland Browns and Texas Longhorns legend, and he has a great charity event going on next month that we're going to get into. Please welcome the great Eric Metcalf. Eric, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. We met at the Masterpiece Super Bowl party in New Orleans, so it's full circle to have you on the show now.
It really is, and I mean that was a fun night and a good event, and so it make you say, "Oh."
Yeah. And I don't know if you had any of it. I think he has champagne. Make you say champagne. So.
Yeah. I think I had a little bit.
Well, I know you kind of get around, right? Are you in LA right now, or?
I'm in LA down here. Doing a photo shoot and going to the Black Film Festival this evening. And so, just trying to make my rounds and see what I can come up with.
Nice. So you're going to be on the red carpet tonight, huh? Do you got the tux or?
Oh no, I don't have a tux. I'm not a tux kind of guy. I'm in the fashion. I like to dress, but I like to be just cool and casual, and so that's my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be comfortable, right?
Right, got to be comfortable, and you got to feel comfortable.
Mm.
And I'm one of those people no matter how I dress, as long as I feel like I look good, then I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, next month, May 9th through 11th, you have a really cool event, the Eric Metcalf 21 Celebrity Weekend, right?
Yeah. So yeah, May 9th through 11th. On the 9th, we're having a sip and smoke. We're just hanging out, smoking cigars and having a few adult beverages, and then then Saturday morning at the Corner Alley in downtown Cleveland, we are having our bowling event, which there'll be a lot of athletes and actors and actresses there who will be on each team bowling with teams that participate, and then the Saturday night we'll do a VIP party at the Barley House in the Grotto, and so we're just looking to have fun, trying to make a few dollars for Impact Youth Inc. and as well as impact the youth. Because by us doing this and people coming out and sponsoring and bowling and everything, that money, a portion of that money is going towards Impact Youth.
Yeah, that's like you said, goes towards Impact Youth, and there's nothing better than having fun or partying for a good cause, right?
Right. And that's what it's all about. You always want to have fun and party. And if you can do it for a good cause. And I think that's what's important about this is that a lot of people in Cleveland, especially, there'll be a lot of athletes that they've always looked up to and watched play that'll be there. And so it gives them an opportunity to come and meet them and bowl with them and just sit down and chat and get to know them as people at the same time, contributing to a great event.
Well, I come from a family of bowlers, so it's nice that you're doing a bowling event. So how's the roll?
Hey, I'm just standing around. If you look at my fingers, there's no way I can bowl. And so I'm not a bowler. I'm just it's just something that I know a lot of guys do, a lot of people do, and so it's easy. You don't have to worry about having a lot of stuff. You just show up and throw the ball down the lane, or roll the ball down the lane.
Well, I like it too because, as you know, so many people do golf tournaments now, so it's nice to switch it up, you know?
Yeah, and golf tournaments are hard to do. You
Mm.
got to get courses. You got to have to get all kind of people to come in. You got to get everything with golf course, so they're hard. People got to come with clubs. It's hard. So this gives you a situation where it's more relaxed. People can interact with each other because in a more confined venue, whereas a golf course you might not ever see some people.
Yeah.
So yeah, this we're just having a good time and getting a chance to be together.
Well, speaking of being together, one of the events of that sounds fun too, like you said, is the smoke and sip. So, what are you? Are you a whiskey guy, Scotch? What's kind of your go-to?
I'm a bourbon whiskey guy,
Okay.
but and so that's what I like. Where that is also being done by sponsored by Uncle Nearest. And so we're just doing, and I love smoking cigars. That's
Hmm.
just something that I just have to do just about every day, and maybe one or two a day. And so it gives, like you said, like I said before, it's one of those opportunities where everybody can get together. And if you enjoy bourbon or you enjoy cigars, you can do that with amongst your peers, amongst my former teammates and people who play with the Brown, and just have fun. And if you don't smoke or don't drink, you can still come and hang out and
Mm.
have fun with the guy and ladies.
Yeah, I'm excited to hopefully next year I can come and be a part of it because I was excited to be a part of it this year. But I'm going to put some links out in the bio, make some teaser clips we can put out so we can promote the event and spread the word.
I appreciate you because it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I've already bowled 300. So that's what's going on the scorecard. I've already bowled 300, so it doesn't even matter.
I like that. Well, speaking of, we talked about going to the film festival, feeling good, being comfortable. You were a big haircut guy, right? When you played, did you have like weekly haircuts or?
Oh yes, we weekly haircut. In fact, I had a barber chair in my basement at my house, and so my friend who was a barber used to come to my house every Thursday, and a few of the guys would come over and get their haircut. So we didn't have to drive all the way to the east side in Cleveland. Just it would be easier for one to come our way, and so yeah, I had to have a nice haircut because I was looking forward to the interviews if I scored a touchdown. When I first got to Cleveland, before I ever even stepped on the field, the last haircut I got in Seattle before I got in the plane was a fade, number one. But I had my part was a lightning bolt.
Mm.
And so I did that just to let them know I'm coming in to be lightning.
Well, it goes into, look good, feel good, play good, right?
Yeah, that's what my dad told me. My
Mm.
dad Terry, who was also a former NFL player, he used to tell me if you look good and you feel good, you will play good. And so I took that to heart. And so whether on the field, the uniform, how I dressed, uh, in my uniform, I just felt like everything had to be perfect in order for me to have a good game. And so I just took that to heart and just kept moving with it.
Well, I get mine cut every 2 weeks, and this is a rare moment where it's been 3 weeks. So actually going later today, so I'll be catching up with it.
Yeah, well, now that I'm older and I'm a bald guy, I get mine cut every day. I shave it every day because I can't have stubble and everything
Yeah.
because then I really feel older. So yeah,
You got to be a hat guy now, right?
I really am.
You have the cool like Pharrell kind of hat.
I wear a lot of, I have some Gorham Brothers. I'm a Gorham Brothers fan, so I wear a lot of fedoras of all different shapes and colors. I have too many. I mean, I traveled to LA. I traveled to LA with four, and I'm here 2 days. Because I just never know which one I want to wear and how I'm feeling at the moment. But I just love putting on hats, and to me, it seems cool to have a hat on, a drink in your hand, and a cigar.
Yeah.
It's for the photos, right?
Well, I feel like with that kind of mindset, you're probably buddies or get along good with Deion Sanders, right?
Well, we're the same class and we're in the same
Mm.
draft, and so like we came out, we played against each other. I haven't spoke with him in a long time, but we used to do some high school football combines together a couple of years ago. Well,
Ah.
probably more like 13, 14 years ago now, but we did those together. And so I mean, if we ever I see him, which I probably will now in Cleveland, we'll be
Yeah.
just like we have been seeing each other every day.
Speaking of your early years there, you grew up in Seattle, and then kind of your later younger years were in Virginia, right? After your dad retired, or?
Right. So yeah, I was in Seattle until after my freshman year. I did freshman year in Seattle. My dad was finishing with the Redskins,
Mm.
and that's when I moved to Virginia because my goal was to play college football in the South.
Uh,
And I felt like it was a better chance of me going from Virginia to the South than Seattle to the South because back then schools didn't come all the way to the Pacific
Mm,
Northwest to find a kid, especially because when there's no social media, there's no anything, right? And
yeah.
so you just have to hear about a kid. And so I felt like it was a better chance if I went to Virginia. And so it worked out for me. Got to the University of Texas, and the rest is history.
Well, it's got to be pretty cool and like a pride thing for you too. Your dad was a three-time Pro Bowler, and so are you. So that's kind of neat.
It is. It is. I mean, and it, I can always tell how old a person is when they talk about who's better, was me or my dad. If they say my dad, I know they're older. If they say me, then they're younger. But when I was a kid trying to play football, I had someone to look up to, and that was my dad. As kids, we watch TV and like, oh, I want to be like O.J. Simpson. I want to be like Walter Payton. I want to as a throwing out running back, Jim Brown, what have you. I just want these are guys I wanted to be like. But my guy was my dad,
Mm.
and so it made it easy because I talked to him all the time. I was with him all the time, and so I could see everything he did. And to become a football player, and so I tried to do everything that he did. I tried to emulate everything he did to get to the same place that he did, and hopefully be better.
Well, it made me wonder, did you go to work with dad? Like, were you in the locker room or watching games on the sidelines, anything like that?
So when my dad went to Canada, because they started the season earlier, I would go to training camp. I had my own locker
Wow.
and uniform and everything. So I would dress out in practice. And I was like 11, 12 years old. I would dress out in practice and I would go through the drills with them in
Mm.
Toronto, go through the drills and do everything that like all the receivers did. And until they obviously went to team and all that kind of stuff, but they gave me an opportunity to do that, and I used to sit in there and watch film. Myself and Willie Woods, whose dad was a
Wow.
coach, and we were both the same age, so we did everything together there. And yeah, so I got to enjoy that, and I knew at that time this is where I wanted to
Hmm.
be a professional football player.
That's pretty cool. Well, who were your favorite teams and players then? Was it the teams your dad was on or guys he played with or?
So my favorite team growing up was the San Diego Chargers. I can say San Diego because that's where they were.
Yeah.
The San Diego. That's my favorite team because I love the powder blue. And especially when I was younger, my dad played for Don Coryell
Mm.
in St. Louis, but then all those coaches went to San Diego, and so I love them. I love Dan Fouts, John Jefferson, the Kellen Winslow, Chuck Muncies, all those guys. That was my team, and it was more so because of the uniform. And
Mhm.
people always ask me, "Why aren't you a Seahawk fan?" Well, when I was growing up, there were no Seahawks.
Oh yeah.
There were no Seahawks, and so I didn't have to pick the Seahawks, and so I was a Charger fan through and through.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Well, another favorite athlete of yours, right, is the great Carl Lewis.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, because also as a dual sport athlete, I ran track and long jump, and in high school I was a long jumper sprinter, and so at that time, Carl was the guy. He was the guy. He was doing everything. He went to the University of Houston, and then of course, he did so many things with medals for the U.S. team. And so I wanted to be like him. I had posted him on my wall, and when I was young, because I looked at him, I said that I wanted to do these things like a track, like Carl, the track guy, and then I had my dad on the wall on the other side, and I want to do these things. So I had both those guys on the wall because they were both successful at things that I wanted to do. So
Hmm.
it was something for me to look up to.
Well, it must have been pretty full circle because later on, was it 88 or 86, you got to compete against Carl, right?
Well, I started my first year competing against him was '86. Yeah,
Hmm.
and so I was a youngster. I was 18 years old,
Wow.
and so it's when you're out there. For me, it's I guess I think it's easy because I'm a football player, and so I'm always around other guys, on the film who might be your friends, but they're still trying to get you, right? and,
Yeah.
and so it's a little easier than it's like say me being in awe of Carl Lewis and it's mano y mano. He goes jumps, I go jump, or
Mm.
even if we were running, because I only jumped against him, never ran, and so but just knowing that I'm in the same space as a guy who I consider the greatest track athlete of all time. It was something special.
Yeah. Do you play it cool or do you get to like go up and, kind of let them know that you're a fan or how did you kind of handle that?
Oh, I played it cool, but at the same time, I was there to try to win. You
Mm.
know, it was a tough time because for younger guys, because during that time you had Carl Lewis, you had Larry Myers, you had Mike Conley. So there were guys that you also had to compete against that were great besides Carl. And so you're trying to be the best athlete you can be, but at the same time, because it's a sport and one guy runs and jumps and guys just stand around, you get to know guys, you get to talk to guys. And so we're, I still talk to Carl now when I see him and he knows how I felt, but he never knew that I felt that way about him until I got inducted into the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame. And he was there because his sister Carol was going in at the same time as me. And in my speech, I talked about having posted him on my wall
Wow.
and wanting to be like him on the track side. And he never knew that until that day.
That's pretty cool. That's special.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it made me wonder then, was track and field, was that kind of your first love, or was that, or do you divide them
Oh
up?
no. Oh no, we don't even. You don't even have to go any further. No, I know. No, it was my love to get out of spring football. No, no, I love track and field. I love the the individual being an individual in that sport.
Mm.
I love that when you go out there, you might be on a track team, but when you go out there in any event, it's you against everybody else. I love that about it because you get to see what if how you compare or compete with other people, and whether that be as a athlete or a coach. Because and track and field is one of the like probably the only sport where you don't have to win every race
Hmm.
or jump the farthest or highest or throw the shot put the farthest, but you can still see improvement every day. You can still see improvement. Your times can be faster than they were the day
Hmm.
before. Your distance can be farther or height can be higher. And you can so you can still get better and not win. And that's what I love about it because you do the same if you coach or play football. I could be the best receiver in the world, but if we can't throw the ball, we can't protect the quarterback, then
Hmm.
I never get the ball and you never know it.
Yeah.
Track and field, you always get to see people getting better. And so it's not my first love, but I just love the sport.
Yeah, it makes sense. And, playing college football in Texas, then they take their football serious out there, right?
They do, and unfortunately for them during my time, we weren't very good. And so because I only won 24 games in college, but by now the Texas teams are winning 24 games in
Hmm.
2 years,
Yeah.
right? And so I only won 24 in 4 years, so we weren't very good. We never won the Southwest Conference championship, but it was fun being in Texas and playing football. I never knew how people really cared about that sport in Texas until I got there. I mean, you know when you're young, especially at that time, you hear of Texas football and everything, but you don't really know until you get there. And then I'm there for like the Texas OU game. I'm playing
Mm.
the Texas versus A&M game,
Mm.
and although I never beat either one of those teams, I can feel that those were their biggest rivals, and it was a game that people who played and didn't play got up for it each and every year.
Well, they must have liked you out there because you're in the Texas Sports Hall of Fame too, huh?
Yeah, and that's what I told my I made a joke about that with my dad that when I first got to Texas and people would meet me, everyone would say I hated your dad, and I was like, yeah, I know, because you must be a Cowboys fan. And they're like, yeah, I hated your dad, and so he and so and I knew why, like I said, and so in my uh, Texas Sports Hall of Fame speech, I ended it with, well, when I first got there, telling this whole story about how guys or people said they hated my dad, and I said, well, they love me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a fellow Longhorn on, the great Roger Clemens, so I thought of him, and then I imagine you've ran into Matthew McConaughey, right? He's a super fan, right?
Oh yes, yes. So Roger is arguably the greatest baseball player in Texas history. I mean, if you talk to Greg Swindell, he might argue that. but, but Rogers is the guy, and Matthew, yeah, he's at every football game. I went to a couple this year, so I got to chat with him on the sideline, and he loves it. I mean, we all love it. It's almost like a cult
Mm,
when you're part of Texas football.
yeah. Well, since I'm in the Bay Area, I'm a big San Francisco Giants fan, and out here we have like the team ambassadors. They call them Forever Giants, and you do that with the Browns, right?
So yeah, because I'm a Longhorn. I'm I'm in the Browns Hall of Honor, and so I, it's just fun. It's a I appreciate that they appreciate what I did as a player in Cleveland, and so I used to tell them when before I got into the Browns legends that if they didn't put me in soon, I was going to blow the place up because it was just something that it meant so much to me
Hmm.
because I know how Cleveland Browns fans and media and everybody alike treat their players. And once I finally got in there, then I knew that that's how they felt
Hmm.
about me as a player and everything that I did for the organization and on the field.
Well, do you get to mentor some of the players? Are you into that or?
Well, now I haven't actually haven't been back to the facility in a few years.
Mm.
I used to go all the time before COVID. And
Uh,
then, when they started changing things, then I stopped going over there as much. But I go, I'm there for every home game because I do pregame and postgame show on a local station. And then I also do some visits in suites with ESPN
uh,
Cleveland radio there. So I'm always around and I'm always going to all the home games and getting to see the fans, getting to see former players and just having fun.
nice. Well, I've had on the few times. Do you know Mike the Miz from WWE then?
Oh, I know who he is. I
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but yeah, I definitely know who he is. A Cleveland guy, of course.
Yeah, I've had him on a few times, and as you know, he's a big super fan. So I'm sure next time I see him, I'm going to tell him I had you on.
You do that, and hopefully one day I'll see him at a game and meet him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, another thing I thought was really cool about you is number 21. You wore that a lot during your career, and is that an ode to your dad?
Oh, for sure. That's when the Browns first drafted me. I told them I need number 21, and it's only because I couldn't wear the number that I really would have wanted to wear, which was two. These days I could wear it, but
Mm.
I wore two my entire life, except for maybe a year or two here or there because we didn't have a two. But I wore two was my number, and that's what I would have really chosen. But since I couldn't wear that, I wanted to wear 21 because that's what my dad wore.
You know, being an Olympic level athlete, you know, you compete in the Olympic trials. Did being a track and field athlete kind of strengthen your legs in a way to kind of maybe help you avoid injury as a football player? Or?
I don't know if it really strengthened my legs because I worked out the same or
Mm.
for football as I did track. I probably did more running on track side of it. But what I do think that long jump helped me with is my ability to run full speed and convert my body into jumping. And so when I'm making cuts
Mm.
and doing and jumping on the field, I was able to get out of those breaks a lot easier because that's what long jump taught me. Is running full speed and then turning it over and putting yourself in position to jump. And so it made it a lot easier for me on the football field.
And I guess it might help you jump over the huddle into the end zone, right?
Yeah. When I first got there, my rookie year, I used to dive over the pile, and score a couple of touchdowns. Yeah, so it was fun.
Well, you played for the great Bill Belichick too. So was he rocking the cut up sweatshirt back then, or?
Been rocking it as long as I've known him. So yeah, he was doing that, and we say the great Bill Belichick, but I don't think people thought he was great at that time. You remember, because in Cleveland he actually got fired.
Yeah, some
But I
dark
but I
years.
but I was already gone, and I had been traded. But when he first got there, we weren't very good, and he's coming from the Giants where they had won Super Bowls under Bill Parcells as the head coach. So it's hard for a coach when that's your first gig to come into a team that hasn't been winning yet. You have a lot of veterans who had been there a while and been to Pro Bowls and just been staples in the organization. So now you have to try to get these guys to buy into what you're trying to do or get them out. and that's what was happening with our team, and because we have very good players, we our best record, I think '94 we were 11-5,
Mm.
and but we were second in our division to Pittsburgh. We lost, including the playoffs. Uh, we were 12-6 that year, including the playoffs, and three of the losses were to Pittsburgh, including the playoffs. And so it was a tough thing, but I knew that Bill Belichick was going to be a great coach. He was just trying to get the organization and the team that he wanted. He wanted, just like he did the Patriot way, just
Mm.
build the people, the players, and the team like he wants. And when he finally does that, he wins, as he has proven. He never got that opportunity in Cleveland.
Gotcha. Well, it must be pretty cool too to, be compared to like a Swiss Army knife, right, on the field because you did it all. You could catch, you could run, you would be a punt returner. Did you kind of get that from your dad too? Because he was versatile as well, right?
Yeah, I got that from, yeah, that's once again, that's who I wanted to be. And we're about the same size.
Mm.
And so we pretty much did the same things. He ran the ball more than I did, especially in the pros, because they were a heavier running team with all those all pro the offensive linemen that he had in St. Louis. And so I can understand why he would run the ball. But um, I think the more you can do on the football field gives you a better opportunity to be on the field.
Mm.
But at the same time, it keeps you off the field as well because you can be a victim of your own talent.
Mm.
And especially when you're talking about like myself, I always thought I was a victim of my own talent because no one in the NFL really looked at me as a every down running back
Mm.
because of my size and because I had never done it. No one looked at me like as a every down wide receiver, right? But I can still return punts and kick off as well. And so no one ever looked at me like I can go out there and play every down. And so in today's game, I would be able to do it because the way the game is spread out, the way they use
Mm.
running backs and receivers, I wouldn't be considered a third down back. And so, um, like I said, it's a gift and a curse to be able to do all those things. But at the same time, it keeps you around because you can't do all those things.
Well, speaking of doing all those things, you could even throw a touchdown pass, right?
Yeah, I was able to do that. I did that in college and well, high school, college, and in the pros. And so I was able to do that. And even in Cleveland, when Bill got there, I was emergency quarterback a couple of times. I actually got under center and ran some plays in Cleveland
Wow.
at the quarterback position. So once again, because I was able to do things, they allowed me to do different things. And so because you never think about it, but I'm a right-handed thrower, but we used to even roll out left and I would throw the ball.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
and if you go back and look at my stats and my percentage, it's not that good, but I was smart with the ball.
Mm.
I would throw it out of bounds or run it like Jalen Hurts, and everybody says he's not making the throw. Well, he's not throwing an interception.
Yeah.
I don't have any of those, and so yeah. So I was throwing. I threw 2-point conversions as well, and so yeah. So they gave me an opportunity to do some things, just not all the opportunities that I wanted.
When you've had records broken, like Devin Hester, is that something you're kind of bummed about when it happens? I've heard some people root the guy on, but how did you kind of take it when he broke your record?
I'm cool with it. I mean, because I had the record for some time. I mean, especially when talking about punt returns.
Yeah.
I was the first person to have double figures touchdowns for punt returns. I was the first person, and then Devin broke that. But then I also think I don't. I mean, records are meant to be broken, and it's good for the next generation to come in and do things. But I I always go back when people talk about it, and I say, but I only returned maybe 8 punts in my first 3 years,
Hmm.
and they were all in the third year before I separated my shoulder. So
Uh,
I didn't have my first year and second year. I didn't return punts at all because
hmm.
we had Gerald McNeil. I only returned kicks, and
Gotcha.
so I look at myself more so as a punt returner than a kick returner because that's what I had more opportunity to do throughout my
Hmm.
career. Like I said, I started out as a kick returner, but um, but I didn't really do both throughout my entire career. So when someone breaks your record for most returns of all time or most punt returns of all time, you got to tip your hat
Hmm.
because they had that opportunity, they took advantage of it.
Hmm. Well, you had 55 career touchdowns. So, what do you remember about your first one? Is it a blur, or do you have it broken down in your mind how it went? Or
I have it broken down now. It was a blur. It was a blur when it happened, and so I know it was Monday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and Bernie threw me a swing pass that he probably shouldn't have thrown to me, and I remember hopping and jumping one way and jumping another way, jump cutting twice, and making two guys miss and running to the end zone, and so I remember that after that touchdown, I ran to the sidelines and everybody was like, great move." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Because at the moment that it happened, I felt like I caught the ball and ran straight in the end zone. That's what it felt like to me. I didn't feel all the jump cuts and
mm,
everything. And so I, I get I get to the sideline, like I said, everyone's telling me, great move. And I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" And then I finally look up at the screen, and that's when I see that I jump cut twice and made two guys miss. And I remember sitting on the sideline with Reggie Langhorne, and I'm watching. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what happened." And I was like, "Oh, but it's messed up." He was like, "What?" I said, "The guy touched my sock and knocked my sock down, and now the pictures are messed up."
a little shake and bake.
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Well, do you during your career were you able to like keep that ball, or do you have any mementos through your career, like at home in a man cave or anything?
Oh, I have that ball. Yeah, I have not most of my touchdowns, but I have big touchdowns.
Nice.
I probably have like 40 something balls at home, and I always say I probably would have had more had we won all the games, because they don't really give you the game balls and stuff
Uh,
like that when you lose.
yeah.
So I would probably, if we would have won, I would have probably had more balls. So I'm cool that we didn't win a lot of those games, because I wouldn't know what to do with all these
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah, you need the space.
Right, right.
Well, were you ever like, the players nowadays seem to do a lot of like jersey swaps. So is that something you ever did, or did you collect any type of like memorabilia?
Oh yeah, I have people's jerseys and the helmets and things like that. But we didn't get to. They do it after the game right now, and we didn't really get to do it until like we went to the Pro Bowl or something like
Mm,
that. So that's when you would take extra stuff, swaps from the helmet, swap jerseys and things like that. You do it at the Pro Bowl, but now I don't know if I would be willing to do it
yeah.
after after a game, especially if I didn't win.
Yeah, people are too friendly these days,
Right.
right?
Especially if I didn't win, I'm running straight off the field and into the locker
Yeah.
room.
Well, is there anyone that you're like excited to watch? Maybe a player, maybe a team? And is there anybody that would you ever compare yourself to someone that reminds you of yourself?
I don't compare myself to play. I have a friend who's always says that uh, Jameer Gibbs is Eric
Mm.
Metcalf 2.0. And so I watch him, and I can see what he's talking about, because he gets the opportunity to do a lot of things, being running the ball and catching the ball. And so I like players like that. I like players who are versatile and, like you said, like a Swiss Army knife.
Mm.
And I don't really pay attention to players per se. I try to keep an eye on all the guys who went to Texas and see what they're doing in the NFL, and hopefully they're doing well. And of course the Browns.
Yeah.
I watch them because I'm still waiting for. I need something good to happen to the Cleveland Browns franchise, and especially for those fans.
Mm, yeah, definitely. Well, since I'm in the Bay Area, I'm a Niner fan. I was wondering if you're a Debo Samuel guy, because as you know, he's pretty versatile.
Yeah, I am, but I think he's versatile because of a Longhorn running that team.
Mm, yeah.
we got so it goes back to being a Longhorn. So no, he was very good, and Kyle put him in situations running the ball and catching the ball where he could excel. And so that's why I like I said, I like players who can do everything, because that to me that's a football player.
Yeah. Well, as you know, being a football player, you get to meet all kinds of different people. So I'm a big music fan, and I ask everyone I have on, what kind of music are you into, and who was your very first concert?
Oh, you're gonna like this. So I'm an R&B and hip hop guy. I mean, I listen to everything. I have a big palette for music, and my first concert, you're gonna love this, the Jackson Five.
Wow, you can't beat that.
That's you're gonna love this Jackson Five. Yes,
Where was that at?
in Seattle. at the
Wow.
Seattle Coliseum. My aunt grabbed me and all my cousins and took us. So there's like five of us that went.
Wow.
Yeah.
You started off the bar too high.
Right, right. So, but then I got to see Michael a few times after
Mm.
that. I got to see Prince a few times, got to see Janet a few times, so I'm good. I've seen some nice concerts in my day.
I'll say, yeah, you got some good taste.
I I think so.
Well, final question then. What else is on the agenda today? I guess getting ready to go to the film festival, right?
Yeah, that's it. I'm right now. I'm just relaxing. I got up this morning and worked out, just hanging out. And I wish LA was sunny and warm like they say it always is in Southern California, but it's not right now. And so I'd probably go out and maybe smoke a cigar and just get ready for the evening.
There you go. Are you gonna rock a cigar on the red carpet or?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, not because then I just have it with me. Because I can't smoke it in there. I
Oh
don't want
yeah,
to.
for
I gotta. If I have it out, I want to be able to smoke it. So I just walk through and enjoy the evening.
awesome. Well, Eric, I got to say it's great to reconnect. Had a lot of fun chatting with you. And just to reiterate, you got the Eric Metcalf Celebrity Weekend, May 9th through 11th. I'm going to put a link in the bio, and we're going to spread the word. So have fun, and I'll see you down the line.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.